You're using the wrong AI setup and the system is designed to keep you confused about it. Here's the thing nobody talks about directly. Every single person in the industry is betting on one outcome, that you stay trapped in a subscription model. They have invested billions in the infrastructure, they need that recurring revenue to justify the valuation. But what if the infrastructure they built is actually optional? What if you have been paying for convenience instead of capability? That's what this is really about. Let me explain the actual situation. 3 years ago, there was a massive gap. Frontier models, the ones made by teams with billion-dollar budgets, were vastly superior to anything you could run on a commodity hardware. The best open source model of 2022, it wasn't even close. It was like comparing a professional camera to a smartphone camera. But watch what happened. The sophistication of locally runnable models didn't just improve, it exploded. Meanwhile, the frontier models are hitting a wall, not because they stopped improving, because the returns are diminishing. Think about Moore's law in reverse. Eventually, you can't just throw more compute and data at a problem. You need new ideas, and here's what's interesting. The breakthrough ideas are coming from the open source community right now. So we have crossed the threshold. You can now take a model that was trained on open datasets, run it on your hardware, and get results that are functionally equivalent to what you were paying $200 monthly subscription for. This isn't aspirational, this is measurable. You can check the benchmarks, the data is public. The question is, why haven't more people noticed? And the answer is uncomfortable. Let us do the math together. Consider the economics of the current cloud AI market. You have roughly 150 million people with some form of subscription to an AI service. Let's be conservative and say 80 million of them are paying. Average subscription price is somewhere between $15 and $30. Let's call it $20. 150 million multiplied by $20 per month would be $3 billion in monthly recurring revenue. Per company, you are looking at a single companies with $300 million to $500 million in monthly AI generated revenue. That's not a business line, that's a business. Now imagine, and this is the scenario they are terrified of. What happens when the barrier to entry drops to zero? When you don't need to pay anyone because you can run it yourself. That $3 billion doesn't go to zero overnight, but it approaches zero. And the timeline is measured in years, not decades. They know this, which is why there's a coordinated effort, and I don't mean coordinated in a conspiracy sense. I mean coordinated in an incentive structure sense to make local AI seem harder than it is. Stories about it's too complicated. You need enterprise hardware. The models aren't good enough. None of that is true anymore. But it's useful to propagate if you are making money on a status quo. This is where it gets real. If you understand this, you can stop funding the business model. That's an actual revolution. Let me tell you why this matters beyond the theory. There are 4 concrete immediate benefits that apply to your life or business right now, not someday, today. When you use any cloud-based service, your prompts, your context, your documents, they leave your computer. They go to a server. They get processed by someone else's infrastructure. They get logged. Now companies will tell you they don't use their data for training. They have policies, privacy agreements, terms of service that promise things. But here's the optional reality. Your data is no longer under your control, and it's under their control. They made a promise, but they have the ability to break it. And if regulators demand access or a corporate directive changes, your data can be used in ways you didn't consent to. With local models, your prompts never leave your device. Your documents never touch an external server. Your context window, everything you're discussing with the model is logged on your hardware. This is actually important if you are a lawyer with client confidentiality obligations, a founder with proprietary business information, running sensitive analysis on personal data, working in regulated industries like healthcare, finance, or government. For those use cases, local isn't optional, it's mandatory. Here's what happened to me. I started using ChatGPT Pro, then I needed Claude for better reasoning on certain tasks, then Gemini for specific capability, then Midjourney for image generation, then another tool for video, then another for analysis. 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 30 plus 15 plus 15. By month 3, I was spending over $450 monthly on AI services. By month 6, it was over $600. And here's the kicker. I was using each one for maybe 5% of my month. The redundancy was absurd. I was paying for breadth when I actually needed depth in 1 or 2 tools. With local models, I run whatever I need. Switch between them freely. No pre-token cost, no subscription crap. The setup cost is hardware. Once maybe $500 to $2,000 if you are getting a dedicated GPU. After that, it's essentially free. Electricity cost is negligible compared to subscription cost. Do the math on 12 months. Most people in AI space save $5,000 to $10,000 annually by switching locally. Let's imagine a scenario. I travel a lot. Every flight, I download 3 or 4 models onto my laptop. This is intentional. Here's what that means. I can work on flights, not email, not cloud storage. I mean real work. coding, writing, thinking through problem with an AI that's actually running on my computer. Most people on a plane can't code effectively without Stack Overflow or library docs, can't write anything sophisticated without reference material, can't even use ChatGPT because they don't have internet, pay $8 for 2 hours for subpar Wi-Fi. They absolutely need connection. I'm running advanced reasoning models, generating codes, brainstorming, all offline, no latency, no waiting for API responses. It's genuinely unfair advantage in terms of productivity. It's not because I'm smarter or more disciplined, it's because I can access capability regardless of network conditions. This matters if you travel, if you work in areas with unreliable internet, if you are in meetings without connectivity, if you just want the freedom of not being tethered to Starbucks Wi-Fi. This is the one that matters most for builders. Every commercial AI model has a framework built into it. Values, assumptions, reasoning patterns. They are not conscious decisions on your part. They are baked in by teams that train the model. That's fine for general purpose tasks, but here's where it gets interesting. What if you want something different? What if you are building products for specific regions, specific industries, specific use cases? You can fine-tune local models on your own data. Let me give you a specific case. You are running a law firm. You have 10,000 case files from last decade. That's your institutional knowledge. That's what makes your firm different from others. You take a base open source model, you train it on your case file, you create a specialized model that isn't generic. It's an expert in your practice. It knows the nuances that ChatGPT never will. Cost to build this with a proprietary service? Hundreds of thousands or millions. They won't let you fine-tune without paying enterprise rates. Cost with local models, the dataset preparation and training runs might require some learning, but the infrastructure is free, open source, yours to customize. Some concepts applies to customer support bots trained on your documentation, code generation tools trained on your code base, analysis teams trained on your domain-specific data, content generators trained on your writing style. You own the model, you own the customization, you own the output. Okay, so if this is actually viable, what are we actually working with? Let me show you the landscape as it exists right now, at the end of 2025. The benchmark is public. I'm using Artificial Analysis AI as the reference because it's independent and they update it constantly. When you look at the pure capability ranking, there are models that are absolutely dominant. Kimi K2 is sitting at the top, but here's the thing. It's a trillion parameter. You cannot run this on a local consumer hardware. You need a data center. So we skip it. What we actually care about are the models that fit on actual computers. There are three meaningful tiers. The unrealistic tier. These are the massive models. DeepSeek V3, Qwen 3. They are incredible. They are also 600 plus billion parameters. You need either multiple high-end GPUs or a dedicated server environment. We are talking $10,000 plus in hardware. This is for serious research labs and enterprises, not individuals. The practical tier. This is where 90% of builders should focus. Nematron 3 Nano, 330 billion total parameters, but only 3 billion active at any point due to mixture of experts. This 24 GB VRAM runs beautifully on modern workstations. Qwen 2.5 72B, smaller, nimble, still capable. 22 to 32 GB VRAM range. Mistral 12B large, efficient reasoning for coding and analysis. DeepSeek R1 reasoning variants, 14 billion and 70 billion, if you need reasoning focused performance. These are sweet spots because they are powerful enough for real work, runnable on consumer hardware, affordable to set up, reasonably fast inference. The accessible tier. These are mobile first phone hardware lightweight systems, Gemma 3, 2 billion and 9 billion versions. Google's efficient models, Qwen 2.5 7B, fast, capable for its size, 5.4. Microsoft's surprisingly good lightweight model. Llama 3.2 1 billion. Runs on phones, surprisingly effective for basic tasks. You can legitimately run these on an iPad, a newer MacBook Air, or even a smartphone if you are patient. The leaderboard you are looking at right now, it's going to be different next month. Every single week, someone releases a new model. Performance metrics shift. New approaches emerges. The strategy isn't memorize what's the best. The strategy is know how to evaluate and choose based on your constraints. What's your bottleneck? VRAM, then go to tier 3. Budget for nice hardware, then go to tier 2. Building an enterprise system, then maybe tier 1. The technical reality changes weekly. The decision framework stays the same. This is where it gets technical, but stay with me because it's important. When you select a model, you see multiple download options. They differ by something called quantization level. High precision models use 32-bit floating point numbers for the weight. That's the original training format. It's accurate. It's also massive. What quantization does is, it rounds those numbers, uses fewer bits, smaller files, lesser memory required, faster computation. Full precision, massive files, needs huge VRAM, very slow. 16-bit quantized, half the size, slightly less VRAM, faster. 8-bit quantized, Quarter the size, less VRAM, noticeably faster. 4-bit quantized at the size, runs on modest hardware, same quality for most purposes. Here's the practical reality. For 90% use cases, 4-bit quantization is imperceptibly different from full precision. You're trading about 1 to 2% accuracy loss for a 7x reduction in file size and memory requirements. Nematron 330B at full precision, approximately 300 GB. Nematron 330B at 4-bit, 17 GB. That's the difference between enterprise hardware and a consumer laptop. Why does this matter? Because quantization is what makes modern frontier capability models feasible to run on consumer hardware. Without it, you'd need a data center. Here's the most powerful capability that's basically locked behind enterprise walls with commercial models. You have domain-specific knowledge, maybe 5,000 documents in your niche, maybe 10,000 customer interactions, maybe a specialized code base. You can fine-tune a base model on this data. Result: a specialized model that understands your domain better than any other generic model ever could. Use cases: legal AI trained on your case law, medical AI trained on your patient's outcomes, technical AI trained on your architecture, sales AI trained on your successful pitches. Commercial fine-tuning from OpenAI, Anthropic, expensive, like enterprise contract expensive. Fine-tuning a local open source model, free tools, free infrastructure, just your compute time. This is how you build competitive moats, not by using the same generic tools as everyone else, but by training specialized tools on your data. I want to spend a moment on why Nematron 3 Nano is interesting architecturally, because this represents where the innovation is happening right now. Most modern models use a transformer architecture. This dates back to the attention is all you need paper from 2017. It's been the foundation for LLMs. But transformers have a weakness. They are expensive to compute at scale. Every token pays attention to every other token. That's mathematically expensive. Mamba is a different approach. Its newer process tokens sequentially use state space models. Faster, more efficient, especially for longer context. Nematron combines them. 23 Mamba layers for the fast stuff, 6 transformer layers for the reasoning. The result: 3.3x faster inference than pure transformers. The same reasoning quality. Why does this matter? Because it shows that open source models aren't just copying commercial approaches. They are innovating faster than commercial models right now. We are seeing continuous architectural improvements every few months. Mixture of experts, new attention mechanisms, parameter efficiency, reasoning optimization. The frontier is moving, and the open source community is winning on that frontier. If you're not paying attention to this, you're going to fall behind technically. Every week there's a new capable model, different approaches, different trade-offs. The landscape is evolving rapidly. Let me be direct about the trade-offs because honesty matters more than hype. What you actually gain by going local: complete privacy, zero per token costs, full control over the model, offline capability, integration flexibility. What you lose is initial hardware investment, higher electricity cost, you manage updates and security, initial setup complexity. The honest truth: local isn't for everyone. If you are a casual user who needs ChatGPT once a week, the subscription is probably fine. The setup hassle isn't worth it. But if you are building products that use AI, processing sensitive information, working in regulated industries, using AI daily, trying to optimize cost, then local is not optional, it's the obvious choice. It's not about ideological purity, it's about economics and control. I use both, cloud for exploration, local for production. That's probably the right balance. Here's what I want to understand. The AI infrastructure is decentralizing, not because of ideology, because of economics. In the next 2 years, running AI locally will be as normal as running database locally. People will look back and ask, why did we ever send all our data to cloud, something we could run ourselves? The companies built on cloud model are going to fight hard to keep people trapped there. They have billion-dollar incentives to do so. But the technology doesn't care about their incentives. You have the power to opt out, to use the same capability, to keep your data, to pay nothing, to iterate infinitely. If you're looking for AI strategy for your business, go to my calendar link, book an appointment at your convenience, and do connect to me on LinkedIn. Over and out.